fashion is a way to express a message without saying a
Yeah.
word.
Oh man, this is what I tell to every single one of my clients. You don't even have to say anything. If you do, I mean, you're just giving stuff away. But like in the first 7 seconds, somebody's already made a decision of whether or not they like you.
You've been around fashion for a long time. What is the message that you see the world is telling us?
I think your outfit says a lot about you. As long as whatever style you hit, as long as you hit the mark, go off. I'd try not to judge. Like whatever your vibe is going to be.
You're supposed to dress me up, man.
We'll do it.
Ben Wills is celebrated as Alberta's epitome of style and sophistication. Starting his illustrious career as a runway model and pageant contestant, Ben has transformed into a lifestyle influencer with a keen eye for global fashion. From the bustling streets of Asia to the opulence of Dubai and the style capitals like LA, Ben's world-class styling talents have made him a sought-after figure in the fashion industry. As an executive at one of the top fashion academies, he makes it his mission to inspire and empower others to find their confidence and develop their unique personal brands.
There is a statistic that 75% of suicides are actually men. Oftentimes it's men that are really struggling with this mental health stuff. If you're open, tell me, what does it mean to, especially men addressing mental health?
I was talking about this the other day, and I think a lot of men are told that we need therapy. I don't think men need therapy. I think they need a safe space where they truly feel that they can open up and the information is not going to be used against them, and where they can just be asked the right question to get to their own truth. Because you can have the same conversation until you kind of hear yourself say it enough times. That's when you get to it.
Benny, it's been some time, man. How you doing?
I'm very well.
Yeah.
I'm very well. Things are good. It's the new year, and I'm back to it.
So you have been traveling extensively, and I've known you since 2017, and we were having this conversation earlier, and it's like, here's this guy who from Lethbridge went to Taipei a couple years ago. I want you to tell the story as well. But man, seeing your journey, and I think our audience, they're going to be excited because I've been following you for the last, I don't know, it's 7 years now. And to see you grow, I think our audience can get a lot of value just knowing what you do, who you are, and how did you get to where you are? So Benny, you went from model to financial advisor, went back and forth a couple of times. We're going to touch on that. To now executive of a very successful business, and traveling around the world. Private jets, all that expensive stuff.
Not quite there yet, but I'm on the verge of it, so always pushing for the next level. And
Yeah.
I think that's kind of what I see and where we're going. So I'm quite excited for the future right now.
So Benny, let's go back. Let's go back in a time machine, 2017. Let's go even further back. Further. You're in Lethbridge.
I was born and raised in Lethbridge. I graduated in Lethbridge, and I didn't fit in.
How's that possible?
Ever fit in. And even now I feel like I float a little bit. You know what I mean? Like I float around. I have a lot of really good people. But then the few that you're really like that inner circle is I have a pretty good lock on it. So it took some time to develop, especially as a weirdo, but like you're a weirdo.
Yeah, of course, man.
Um,
Weirdos change the world.
That's it.
Look at Elon.
That's it.
He's my man.
Yeah, man, it's crazy, and I mean, the ones that think they're crazy enough to change the world are the ones that do it.
Right.
So there's a little bit of delusion involved and a little bit of visions of grandeur sometime. But if you're gonna stick to it, I mean, that's literally like rule number one. I feel like.
So me knowing you for some time, how do you define yourself as a weirdo? Because it's tough. Because I've seen you in multiple different social settings, and literally, by the time you leave the room, everyone knows who, Benny Wills is.
I think that's the cool thing about it is I think it's a learned trait, and it's a lot of simple things like how to win friends and influence people. You're like, I don't need that, and you read that and you're like, oh my goodness, everything's so simple and it makes so much sense.
Yeah.
But it's almost so second nature that we kind of forget to do it sometimes. But I think I mean I heard a saying not too long ago, and it said every wise man was once a foolish boy.
Oh,
And so I'm like, I think I've just made more mistakes than most people.
right.
And I'm like, I mean, the way that I live, and I wouldn't even call them mistakes per se. Obviously, there are some mistakes, but I think a lot of it is just experience, and it's just kind of how you take it. But I'd rather look back and say, "Wow, that was crazy," than "What if?" So that's how
Yeah.
I live with a lot of.
You know, it's interesting because we judge ourselves growing up. We're like, "Oh," and this whole thing about imposter syndrome, and one of the things is when I see your journey, and I was actually before you came here, I was, like, creeping on social media, I'm like, "Man, I remember these times from you literally," and Victor's gonna post this, we're gonna put a picture of you like, half naked in front of a Lamborghini and stuff. I'm here walking walking in Speedos in Taipei.
The worst part about it, yeah, those ones are good. Those ones, if you find those ones, oh man, bad photography too.
Really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, it's funny. No, it was a blast. I mean, yeah, so my journey, I started in Lethbridge, Alberta. Had no idea what I wanted to do, kind of bounced around. Anyways, after a few experiences and different jobs and kind of finding my way, I was introduced to sales. And that's when I started to realize I could have anything I want.
Yeah.
And so I started to create a vision, and I was like, okay, these are some things that I actually want. As a kid in middle school, I was like looking at I not rich kids, but the cool thing was like Hollister and Abercrombie. You remember those bags? Yeah, yeah, the dude. And it wasn't even like no head either, just the dude. I was like, yeah, that would be cool. And I had no chance. And then puberty did me wonders. I didn't quite grow as much as I had wanted to for after realizing what the average model is, especially.
What is it, by the way?
I mean, I'm short. I'm not supposed to do runway. I kind of just barged my way through and
Right.
kind of made it a reality. But like,
Trump's not supposed to be president either.
that's it. That's it. That's it.
But sure you
I
are.
mean, that being said, once you build a name and that kind of thing, they're gonna make. I mean, I don't know if you've seen it. It's the Villain fashion show, and I think it's Dior. I can't remember now that I'm on the spot, but anyways, it's this fashion show, and it's all these villains from Hollywood, and it's so gangster. Yeah, it's really good. It's really
Like, what do you mean by villains? Like guys who played villains in movies?
yeah, like that have been casted as villains.
Yeah.
And so they were like this designer put them on the runway and had all like, yeah, it's a great, like one of my favorite lines
Yeah.
that I've seen. But yeah, I mean, I started to figure out that I wanted to start a clothing line. That was actually what really got me into fashion and thinking about branding and how people have done it. I know Wayne Gretzky might enjoy wine, but he doesn't know the first thing about it.
Mm-hmm.
He just can pay people to do it. Well, once you build name recognition, you can kind of do anything you wanted. So I was like, okay, I feel like as a designer, that one's very tricky to get into. Like you have to keep up, and even understanding the program and the way that the industry works is kind of what took me out once I saw the big picture. I was like,
Mhm.
oh, this isn't actually what I wanted to do. But I mean, getting into it, that was the reason I started. And then I think modeling was just the first step of the way there, and then everything was kind of history from there. And just started to learn the industry in a place where there was no mentorship. There was no the Lethbridge fashion show didn't take males. So once they finally did, I was the first one they had. There was multiple agencies where I was their first male model that they signed on. So it was definitely a learning experience, except I had to teach myself a lot of those. So if you can get a mentor, like hands down, that's going to leapfrog your business exponentially, no matter
Mhm.
what.
Yeah, because I mean, Lethbridge isn't known to be the fashion capital of the world or Canada.
Maybe for farmers.
Yes, right. Yeah, but I mean, for you to go there, and you're talking about first, you're the first male model in Lethbridge fashion. You're also when the Calgary International Fashion and Arts Week, like you were the first too. You were the first
Yeah.
um, featured male model at that time. I remember that.
Yeah. So I was actually their lead male model, and then Naomi was female lead for the team. And then I remember when they were expanding and they were like, hey, we really want to celebrate diversity. I was like, I probably found, I'd say 3 to 5 to really start building the team outward. So it was cool to be a part of that growth.
Do you find that? I mean, we could go deeper into this, but do you find that diversity, the fact that you are from Lethbridge, was an advantage because I think at the time it was very Asian driven, wasn't it?
Oh,
That particular show.
oh yeah, absolutely. And I think that's why they wanted to have that. So I mean, I've always just kind of been a recruiter for lack of better words. Like I'm like, hey, if you need people, like yeah, I could. That's what I do. And so it was just very natural to me. I'm like, hey, they want to put on a show, they want to have this, they want to have the team. I'm like, hey, have you ever thought about getting into this? So yeah, it was cool to see. Like, sorry, I totally forgot where I know.
Yeah, you're recruiting all these people to the fashion show, and back then it was Asian driven, and that's really what your skill set was, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think, like I said, I'm a floater.
Yeah.
So I think that just kind of came right into it, where it's like just knowing that many different types of people. And I think, like you had kind of mentioned my upbringing before. My mom is, I don't know if she's a hippie or a hipster or something weird. I didn't like hipsters when they first came out because I thought my parents were pretty hipster before it was a thing. So I was like, no, this is not a, I didn't like that trend.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's really cool the way that she did it, because like I was always having, different music and different food. And I think that's something that I can really accredit to my family, or my parents and my upbringing, is that they made us travel. And the experience you get from that is,
It sounds like they're supportive too, right?
oh, super supportive. Even when I was like, you know, dealing with life as we always do, kind of through that weird transition, and I was like, no, like they don't, and or I'm scared of them thinking whatever they're gonna think, that I want to go into fashion. And my dad's like, I'm a drama teacher, when he really, so I was like, well, okay, yeah, that was pretty dumb of me. But yeah, so it definitely took my it's time to figure out what I wanted, and that has kind of changed
Right.
as it's gone. But that's kind of, I think, diversity that you were talking about. It's really cool to see how it's shaped everything. And yeah, like I said, I think my parents did a really good job of opening my mind that way. And even just like some weird things that I remember. It was, my mom had a shirt that was like one world, one people, one something, please.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's a weird, like, what does that mean? You know what I mean? As a child, you're like, well, there's not one people. We're all different people. And so like for her to try to explain that to a child, I'm like, kudos to you. Well, also just like these certain, your diet is not just what you eat. It's, the conversations you have, the things that you listen to, the music, the people that you have around you, and it's all the energy that you intake and off-put. So I think about, diets at certain times in my life, and how that's kind of shaped the way that I think.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like you're talking about how the people you associate with is so important. I remember a couple of years ago we were talking about a book club, and you're starting this book club in Lethbridge. I remember that. I don't know if you remember that. You're like
Yes, yes,
you're,
yes.
you're trying to get this book
Literally,
club going, and you're like, fuck, people in Lethbridge aren't reading.
it, it took off. Like
Yeah.
we didn't have enough time, and both of us were busy. It's my buddy James and I.
Yeah.
And I actually just had lunch with him when I was back home for Christmas, and we were talking about that book club. And it's funny to see like the type of people we attracted. But yeah, if you're looking for a business idea, man, a book club, it was actually kind of dumb. And like the way that it was growing, I was like, I don't have time for this. And we both just dropped it after like the third meeting, because it was super cool. But
Let's say you're gonna pick a couple books, because you and I've read several books. If you got let's say what are your top five?
top 5 books, well, first one is The Alchemist.
Okay.
Um, Second one would be Outwitting the Devil.
Yeah, Napoleon Hill.
Yeah.
Good
Yeah,
book.
but that one,
Controversial.
yeah, very. But that one changed my whole thoughts on reality, and how I viewed the world, and how I'd been conditioned. That one, it's a really good job of reconditioning and getting you to think intentionally, right?
Yeah.
Like what, just making actual decisions and being decisive and figuring out. I mean, the drifting concept.
Yeah.
Like it's a good refresher. That one I should actually revisit. That's one that I like.
It's been a while. Yeah, even how he pushes our mindset on how we view education and religion.
Religion, I was gonna say, that one's heavy.
Oh yeah, that's a tough chapter.
Yeah, it makes so much sense. And so that was
Good book,
a really
good
good one.
book. Okay, I agree.
48 Laws of Power.
Yeah, that's Robert Greene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Never Split the Difference.
Yeah.
And then 5 Love Languages.
Okay. Those are 2 of those books are in my washroom. I'm like in my washroom. I have books. 5 Love Languages for sure. That's a good one. Most recently, I started reading Becoming Supernatural.
Oh, I haven't read that.
Joe Dispenza. Hey, I see a book, man. It's very science driven, pretty heavy.
He's very like that.
Yeah,
But it's all studies, and you can tell, like, you just absorb information
because
from him.
I think when we were reading books, starting off, like it was just like the basic stuff, like Think and Grow Rich, more mindset stuff.
Well, and
Eventually, you
Every
elevate.
single business development or mindset book is based off of that book.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like,
or As a Man Thinketh. One like these kind of The Secret was the first one for me. When I read The Secret, I'm like, what the
Yes.
hell is this shit?
yeah,
Really?
that one I heard about. I've honestly never read The Secret.
It's a little fluffy.
Meditations is a good one that I'm. Marcus.
Marcus Aurelius.
Yeah.
Yeah, it got me into Stoicism.
Yeah.
There was a point in time when I didn't practice any religion. I stopped being Catholic or Christian,
Anything. Yeah.
and I became Stoic. Actually, I tried to become Buddhist at one time.
Okay.
But Stoicism, as a man, I honestly think it's such a great way
Well,
to develop.
and I don't think you have to officially say, like,
I'm just, yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, if you, it doesn't have, like, you could be both a Stoic and a Christian. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of just values in it where I think everybody's so black and white, where I'm like, well, they're kind of all saying the same thing. Like, that's another one. I won't go too much into that, but I think, like, at the end of the day, like, just that's where it kind of goes along the line of, and I think Stoicism is just very, like,
Mm.
and they even talked about it, only drunks actually drank their liquor like liquor. Everybody watered it down so that they could drink all day, and it was just like, that's what you drank, like, and so you're hydrating, you're doing this, but, like, it's also getting the thought process going. So that, I thought that was a very interesting kind of concept.
Mhm.
But yeah, only the drunks, and they had a funny name for
Well, it was I went down this path because, as you and I know, I went through a dark time in my life, and I needed to figure out, like, how do you become a noble man? And I found that Stoicism helped me. Right? You don't beat yourself up. Memento mori. Know that we're all gonna die. Amor fati, all this kind of stuff. Really cool shit.
Yeah.
And I think that, I mean, we could talk about this later on in the podcast, but I think men in general need to have some type of guiding principle, whatever it is, and certainly I hope it's important to surround yourself around some good people.
I think there's a saying that goes, strong men create good times, which create weak men who create poor times. And right now we're in really poor times, and there's strong men creating good times.
Yeah.
And there's always a lull. There's always that's just how the universe works. It comes in waves, just like the ocean. It's just a different wave. And so I think that's kind of the space that we're in right now. And I think we're going to see a lot of strong men, and I think we're going to have that kind of come back, and I think there's a pendulum, right? Because we saw this hyper strong man, and I think confidence is quiet. But, you see Andy Frisell is not too bad because he just kind of keeps his mouth shut.
Yeah, 75 hard, man.
Yeah, except for his podcast, he gets a little mouthy,
Yep.
but, like, that's just who he is, and I
Yeah.
appreciate the energy for that. But then you get, like, the Wes, I forget his name. He's like,
Is he a red pill guy?
yeah, he got himself out of jail, like,
Yeah.
gangster dude, good for him. He's a bit of a loudmouth. He's a little bit obnoxious. There's Tate, you know what I mean? Like, I think confidence is quiet, right? But there's obviously something to be said because, like, there's a time and a place.
Yeah.
And I think somebody needed to smack somebody in the mouth, and there was a few people to do that, right? So
Mhm. I think sometimes, you need that guy who will
you're a
disrupt.
pain in the ass most of the time, but you're like, You mean well, you dumbass. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, shine. This is your moment.
Yeah.
You know?
You know what? To be honest with you, I'm welcoming a little bit of that toughness because for so long we've been. I find that for so long we've been a little bit complacent,
Yes.
and there was a softening of men for a while, right? Which
Quite.
I think when you go, and this goes back to where we started off with fashion, a lot of people just don't think right away as a man. I'm just going to jump into fashion. Right?
Totally.
They think, I don't know. When I was a kid, I'm going to be a police officer, a doctor, or something like that. Whatever it is,
I had no idea.
superhero. I want to be a superhero. To be honest with you,
That's a good one. I had a project in grade 4, and it was a week-long project, and I took all week researching what I wanted to be, and everybody knew. You know, I want to be a dentist. I want to be a veterinarian. I want to do whatever it is. I don't care. I had no idea. So the very last day, I was like, I like animals. I'm going to be a marine biologist. And I'm like, I don't even like the ocean that much, but like, it's pretty cool to watch, but like, I'm not going down in a submarine or anything
Yeah.
like that. And I didn't get any project done. I finally picked something. And I'm sitting there and I'm supposed to be presenting in grade 4, and I just start crying because I'm like,
shit.
I don't want to do this. I was like, this doesn't feel good. And I'm like, this is wait. And so I think like subconsciously, my brain was like, this is it. Like, I have to figure it out. Those suck. Those options suck. Right. And then it was like, or you can be like a rock star or a singer. And it's like, wow, are you really going to do a project about that? So immediately, like grade 4, the first moment they actually get you to think about it, they're already beating it out of you.
Wow.
And so I was just like, this doesn't make sense. And so, yeah, I went through school just kind of getting by because I just didn't care. But I'm also like, I know that anything, like, and I've come to realize this, anything that I can actually just put my mind to, I'm going to get better at. I mean, I'm obviously not going to be an NBA player. You know what I mean? There's something like you got to pick your battles.
Right. That's one of the biggest lies that sometimes parents will say is that you could do anything, and you can to a certain extent, but certainly you don't want to set up your kid for failure.
Yeah, I mean, it's super tricky to not have them come back around and say, "Oh, well, my parents didn't support me because they told me that I could do anything, and then they changed their mind," or whatever like a kid is gonna say. So I don't know the job of a parent. Like, kudos. I don't know if I could do it. Definitely not yet. But like, I think it's super interesting to see the way that this generation is kind of being raised and or the past couple and how it's integrated. I mean, even with technology, I think that's making everybody softer. It's a microwave society.
Yeah.
You press a button, food shows up. You press a button, a date shows up. You press a button and you're at work. You press a button and anything you want, shopping, groceries, whatever, comes to your house.
If you don't mind me asking,
Fine.
what was your what did you pick? You said you cried. Did you say anything? Yeah, what was
Really off. I said marine biologist.
so it was marine biology.
That's what I said, but I didn't get anything done. I had no research. I had barely picked. Like, it's the end of the last class and they're like, "Hey, you have to present." And I'm like, I got 5 minutes. And I'm like, okay, this, I guess. And so like I come to it and everybody's finished their presentation and they're presenting. And then they get to me and I'm like, I don't want to grow up. Like, that kid. So like, that's kind of, I had that moment. And then, yeah, just through there, I was like, I don't. So, I mean, I went to school to be a firefighter, failed by 1% because the instructors are going to be like, that doesn't make sense. You want to like read that again? Like, you're not. And so like they were kind of like pushing everybody. So like I was just like, I don't care. Lost by 1%. And I was like, I don't even think I want to do this.
Yeah.
Again, kudos to them. I just like, everybody that I see gets jaded. They all have PTSD, and like for 60 grand a month, man, like, that was the sad thing through COVID. Everybody that we deem as necessary gets paid the least.
Yeah.
So, and nothing changed after that. That's the crazy thing to me. I'm like, you're all like, everybody else is not necessary.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it all stopped and it was fluff, and everybody kind of saw that, but they're like, oh, well, like nurses didn't really get, much. Teachers, I think if teachers were actually paid more, like
Big fair.
yeah, and it wouldn't just be glorified babysitters taking care of 30 children with ADD because they've been fed garbage.
Mhm. I remember growing up as a kid, our teachers really cared. I'm not saying that teachers now don't care. You know, they got 50 kids. Back in the day, it was only 30 or 25.
Going through school and having some that did and some that didn't.
You know, I had teachers that would beat. They'd beat the kids, man. Like grab them by the neck, and
The good old ear pull.
yeah, they would do that. But now, you know,
Oh, parents coming in and breaking a chair over your head.
yeah, my parents would be like, "Yeah, so Mike was an asshole. Good. I'm gonna beat him even more when he comes home."
That's it.
Right? So it's like, "Thank you for warming him up for me." Now a real beating comes.
Yeah.
I find that you know, not going deep into parenting and knocking on teachers and stuff like that, but one of the pieces of advice I find that people you know, or the questions that people will ask is, "So what do you want to be?" And they expect the kid that at 18 years old, you know. I going back to your point, I think go travel, experience things because you don't know what you don't know. You could say, "Well, I want to be a doctor," but maybe you haven't traveled the world and experienced life.
I mean, what if
Tap
you
on
pass
it.
out at blood?
Yeah, who knows, right? I mean, you're so young, right? I would always say I would advise, you know, just kids growing up, experiments with experience, like have a lot of experience. Travel the world. I wish I traveled the world. Speaking of which, you've been traveling a lot. See that segue there? Because our conversation could have gone deep for 2 hours about parenting. Right? But you traveled, right? And I remember Taipei was one of the first
That was the first for work.
for
I
work.
mean, like before, like I'd done like, finance conventions and stuff like that, slept on the floor and did what I had to do to get into the room. But that was the first one in fashion.
Yeah.
And so I had won Mr. Ocean Canada.
Yep.
And then I went on to represent Canada internationally. I went to Taipei, Taiwan. And that was a terrible experience.
No way.
Oh, it was awful, man.
I thought there was gonna be something magical about that experience.
No. It was fundamental.
Oh, is that right?
Fundamental.
Like a bit of a wake up call?
If that didn't happen, I would not be anywhere.
How so?
Well, I don't know what would have happened differently, but my whole path would have been different, whether that was into fashion or not. So it was terrible. And I learned what I didn't want to do. Made some of the best friends of my life because we all went through this shitty experience. Like I remember Australia's trying to get kicked out. He was funny, man. And then at the end of it, I blew up. I lost it. And I like called out the organization. I was like, this is all fake. This is all bureaucratic. I won't go into details, but I lit them up. And in Taiwan, if you publicly humiliate somebody like that, it's a like jailable offense.
Mm.
And so like it got a little bit heated. They sent me to bed. And then the next day, they're like, we're leaving him behind.
Really?
Yeah, there's 50 models. I'm in middle of Asia. I've never been before. I don't speak any language other than English, other than Sheshe.
Yeah.
That's it, right? And Australia's like, you can't do that.
Yeah.
You're going to leave one of your models behind? That doesn't look very good. And he's like, and here's the thing. We went through this shitty experience and he goes off and he's like, if you leave him behind, we're brothers now. So I got to stay behind. And if I stay behind, Lavia's staying behind. And if Lavia's staying behind, Northside, just like goes off. And like names like 15 countries that like we just came.
Yeah, you bonded.
Trip. That was it through the shitty experience. And it's funny to see how that hardened me, right? And a little bit in a different way because it got intense at some moments. But anyways, they're like, okay, fine. Because he's like, if that happens, you're leaving a third of your organization behind. That doesn't look very good. So he negotiated with them. And they're like, okay, but he has to apologize. And so I went back and I was like, hey, I handled that very inappropriately.
Right.
But my opinion does not change. And they're like, get on the bus.
Right. So half-ass apology, right? Sincere, but
Well,
hey, you stood your ground.
I am apologizing for what I did wrong. You might not like what I'm saying.
The delivery.
Well, and that's it. And I was like, hey, that was totally like I'm in the wrong. And I understand that. I apologize. I shouldn't have done that. However, my thoughts are still not changing on how I feel about this experience.
Now, is that experience representative of the pageantry industry in general? Because in
I
Asia, it's a
haven't
big
done-
thing, right? I
I've
mean,
done enough, but I think so.
it's a business there, And to my
And I
understanding,
think that's really it. It's who's going to pay.
oh, is that right?
I think it's just like, a big publication or something like that. Like if
Mm.
you want your name on something, like you got to pay. The winner has to pay.
I-
And even like,
Is that the same thing here in North America, or
yeah. Like I know there's some like awards in Toronto that, yeah, you get the award, but you have to buy a table for $25,000.
well,
You get a really nice goodie bag, but I'm like, what? Maybe that's worth like 5. You know what I mean? And like I could go buy my own goodies. But like you get this award that you paid for.
but didn't you rank in 2018, 2019 top 100 male models for Supermodel
I
International?
mean, like, and so even for that one, like,
2018 was also top 60, I believe. Top
well,
models.
yeah. So basically what happened with Supermodel Canada Search, and like I said, if it wasn't for Taiwan, I wouldn't have had the experience to do that well in a competition like that. I understand that it's different from pageantry. However, there's still challenges. And like they kept us up till like 2, 3 in the morning, like learning these dances. And we would sometimes do the dance. Sometimes we wouldn't even. They're like, oh, we're going to change it. And so they just burn us out
Yeah.
and just keep everybody at their kind of wits end just to see, can you handle this life? And so that's where I was like, oh, I get what you guys are doing. But same thing with the competition. Supermodel Canada Search was 4 days instead of like 10. Because yeah, the pageant was a long time.
Yeah.
And then there's a bunch of different challenges throughout. So, but to get there, I think there was 10,000 applicants. And then from there was actual like show days where you show up and you'd walk and you'd do a casting. And then from there, they would take the top, I can't remember. I think it was the top 100. And then they cut that in half based off of likes.
Well,
Online. So I think it was Facebook, just Facebook. And then after that, once you've gone in, then it was $1,500 in like 2 weeks or something like
you have to come up with
Yeah.
1,500.
Yeah. Because you're staying, like they're putting you up at the Hyatt, whatever, but they're still bringing out 50 people. Right. So you pay for the experience, that kind of thing. And then from there, I placed top 5 both times.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah.
Nice.
So I was, I think, second or third runner-up in 2018. And then 2019, they actually called me and asked me to return, and I said no. I was like, I'm working right now. I'm changing gears. And they're like, okay, perfect. TFA, who was the main sponsor, they called me up and they're like, hey, heard you're not competing. We'd love to hire you. So then I was doing the castings, and then they put me in as a mole. And I had a totally wrong impression.
Right.
I think I'm supposed to come in guns blazing, like kind of like Jersey Shore, like poking the bear.
Because this was a show, right?
Yeah.
It was a TV show.
We had the
This is for those of you in the audience who don't know, TFA's Toronto Fashion Academy.
Yeah. Toronto Fashion Academy is a sponsor. So yeah, they actually were going to make it into a show, but they wanted to script it. So it ended up we didn't push it that way. But yeah, we had the camera crew from, it was either Big Brother or it was, the Roses.
Oh, Bachelor.
Yeah, Bachelor. And so we had to do interviews. Like we're doing interviews at 3 a.m. kind of thing. So it was a lot of fun, but you stir up the drama, you see it going. And then I like screwed up and I came in like an asshole because I think I'm supposed
Which was your character, right?
Well, yeah, I thought I was supposed to have a character, and they were like, no, you screwed that up.
What, you laid it on too thick or what?
Well, no, like it was perfect.
Yeah.
I just came in like an asshole. And so everybody thinks I'm an asshole, and they're like, now the drama's about you.
Yeah.
You were our mole. You're supposed to find out about the drama, not be it.
Yeah.
So
Who took the spotlight?
Oh, like a dummy. So anyways, yeah, that was funny. And then after all of that, the competition isn't even finished. And they're like, by the way, there's 2 moles. Because they're like, wow, our cover is almost half blown now.
Right.
So they say that. And then somebody's like, it's Benny. And I was like, oh yeah, dude, it's me and Ty. And then he's like, yeah. And so I convinced half the models to say that they were the mole with me.
Mm.
So nobody knew.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a blast.
So you do that, you become a model, you pivot into financial advising for quite some
Yeah.
time, right?
Yeah.
You're there for a while.
Yeah. I was there.
Really championing financial literacy.
That's the
Another,
big one for me. I mean, I just never had that. And so that was just something that I fell in love with that I had never had before, where I'm like, okay, I can open the door and create wealth.
right?
And that's something that I'm just super passionate about in a lot of different ways is I want to like I'm not eating if the table doesn't eat. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? So that's something that I truly believe in is like it's not lonely at the top. It's as lonely as you make it.
Mm, mm. You're like Drake. He's gonna pull people up, man. Right?
Yeah, like, and you see, like, I know Adam Sandler did it really well.
Do
There
well
was a
with
couple,
all those movies.
right? So there's a cool way to do that. I'm just learning, and I mean, I'm only getting started too. I feel like that's where I got very lucky. Is right at 18 years old, I just one day started listening to motivational clips. I just like didn't have anything at the gym, and I just typed in motivation, and some Les Brown or ET came on, and I was
Yeah.
like, "What is that?"
I remember one day we're at my house. You're at the kitchen table, and you had your earphones on. You're just like with a book, taking down notes. I'm like, what are you listening to? And you're just writing down motivational quotes,
Oh,
stuff that like you're
absolutely.
taking down notes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, I don't when you listen to there's really good apps or there's really good compilations where you can hit a tone and, like, I don't know, success leaves clues, man. Like, people that have success aren't gonna hide it away because, like, again, most of them want like, they know that I'm gonna get rich by making everybody else rich. That is most of what business is. So it's like, hey, I'm gonna share this as much as I can, help as many people as I can out. I'm gonna feel great doing it. I'm gonna pass it like move it forward. You know what I mean? Like I had an 18-year-old kid come up to me after my event and he was like, hey, I so and so said that I should talk to you and I'd love to take you for coffee and I was like that's cool.
Yeah.
I'm like it's cool to be that person cuz I've done that to other people and like totally made some of my best friends that way to be honest or like reaching out on social or whatever. So it's cool to be on the other side now and be able to provide value, I think.
Yeah, yeah. Especially because when you take a look at the average family that's going to a food bank or on welfare, it's generational. It's the
Is it?
same family. Yeah, statistics say that
Oh,
the same family that's going to the food bank every single and then why they do that? Well, their family did it. Their
that's
parents did it, and their grandparents did it. So Ed Milet did this. Actually, I posted it on my Instagram today,
okay.
and he said, "There's always that one guy in your family. The one guy." He goes, "Who's that one guy?" He goes, "I was the one guy." Ed Milet's like, "I was the one guy that was doing the conferences, that was sleeping on the floor, that was meeting people, that was reading all the books." He goes, "There is one guy in the family that has to break that cycle of poverty, right?" And I love guys like him. I love guys like Grant Cardone, who said it's your obligation to become
Yeah.
successful. I do also like when Andrew Tate says the biggest form of love is to get rich.
Oh, 1,000%.
Because he goes, I don't need all this money, but I could help. If someone asks for money, I could help them. I want to be that guy. So no, it's awesome that you're doing that. But speak about rich. Let me just segue into something
I
else.
love that.
You've gone to a place, Lethbridge. I've seen people who may not have been as well to do, but then all of a sudden you're at the foot of the Burj Khalifa, right? Like you are in a completely different world. Like, yeah, tell me about that experience because I experienced it through social media watching you. I'm like, holy crap, he's in Dubai. Like,
Yeah,
tell me about that.
Dubai was first class.
Yeah.
It was a learning experience. It feels very much like Vegas, but everything is like over the top. And it's crazy like this last year just the connections and I guess just working in fashion, that's the lifestyle that comes with. And I'm just feeling very grateful after everything the way that it's panned out this last year has just been a blessing. And I mean obviously due to hard work and you create your own blessings a lot of the time, that kind of thing. But yeah, I just think it's very cool to have this, but it's kinda tricky too, because even, like, going to Lethbridge, speaking of,
Mhm.
like, I can't talk about half of this stuff. You know what I mean? Like some people like still don't believe me, and then some people are like, "Oh, you're bragging," and I'm like,
This is your life.
this was my last week. Like, what did you do? You know what I mean? You just sat on the couch and then what?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and I sat on the beach for the last week, but like that was a vacation, and I haven't done that ever. So that was really cool, actually having like a legit like vacation to like not do anything. Weird. But yeah, like so it is kind of tricky like balancing that and learning it. But no, it was a very cool experience going to Dubai, I went to Saudi, and they're a weird thing because they have all this money and like to the world they look so futuristic. But you go there and it looks third world.
Really?
Yeah, so
Wow.
it's very interesting, you know what I mean? It's very much for the show, it's very much if they can catch up by 2030 for the, the World Expo, like they talk about, I think they talk a lot. The line was gonna be 280 kilometers. Now they're like, "Oh, we're gonna go 1 kilometer at a time." And I'm like, "Then why say how big it was gonna be? Because you had this huge vision that you sold to the world
Right.
and nobody bid because you don't commit to it." And they're like, "Well, we have all this money." And I'm like, "Yeah, but you're lazy and it gets done, inshallah, at your time."
Mm.
So like, that's fine, but like the rest of the world can't wait. You know what I mean? And like, we're moving quick. And just because you're first right now, like that's why Japan lost the war. They didn't evolve. They're like, our planes are better and we're just better pilots. We don't care. And US just made everything new and whooped them. And then it was done. Right. And so like, if you don't adapt, if you don't pivot,
Yep. It's crazy because when you're talking about a place like Dubai, where most people have never been to,
Mm.
I think, that the Burj Khalifa is 2,770
yeah,
feet
tallest.
tallest. You have the largest mall in the world, which is 1,400 vendors in the mall. The highest,
madness.
and then the highest density of supercars. Like,
Oh,
it is insane.
and the dumbest thing, have you seen the license plates?
Tell me about it. You alluded to this a while
The
ago.
license plates are crazy. They pay for the lower the number, the lower the golf score, the more expensive it is. And they're laying
Like
like
how much?
hundreds of thousands of like
Just for the
US lady. Yeah. They're probably paying like, I don't know. The last one I saw was like $330,000 for like the number 8.
It's crazy.
Like if you're driving a Bentley and you have 4 numbers, you're like, that guy's nobody.
What if you have like a Bugatti?
If you got 4 numbers, you're nobody.
Even if you got a $3 million car. So,
Nobody gives a shit.
is that a function of like everyone is like where like
Yes. So the thing
they
with
take care
Dubai,
they take care of them their own,
they
right?
have a very cool. They very highly believe in the class system. White privilege is a thing there. I know we kind of had we're talking about going there, but it was interesting to see because they definitely believe in the class system. They have servants and they are called servants. You know what I mean? Well, that is just like the lifestyle that they live. If you live that life, you don't make your bed. Somebody cooks your food. You might have a driver depending on if you like driving your car or not. They'll just go sand duning and they'll just leave the cars.
Wow.
They'll flip them and leave it.
But is that so all that stuff you see on Instagram when you see these
Yeah.
Bugattis in the sand, buried, covered in dust,
Yeah, that's totally
that's real.
Yeah, that's totally real. And the thing is, when you're like, there's like the royal family, and obviously you're sad. You know what I mean? Funny thing is, nobody tints their windows there. The crime is like non-existent.
Yeah.
You steal something, you lose a hand. So they're on that, right? So, but there's cameras everywhere. It's kind of like London. It's
Mm.
very safe.
But so Benny, like they're so wealthy, and you're alluding to the government takes care of their people.
Yeah,
So like, how much are they
thing,
giving everybody?
It's liberal, but it's still a kingdom. Like Saudi is a kingdom. Next stop, North Korea. But they believe in the class system. So the closer you are to the royal family, the more respect that you have, the more money that you're gonna have.
Can you? I don't know either that class. I kind of like how India struggles with their caste system.
I'm not sure.
Okay.
That one I think is just like you're closer to the family, but you can be cast out. So I think it's more of a relationship thing at like once you're that close. But you're local. If a local man marries a foreigner, she never gets citizenship.
Wow.
Their kids can. Their kids will.
Right.
And their kids will get like all the stuff. I don't know. I don't know exactly how the perks change, but if a Emirati woman marries a foreigner, they lose everything.
Wow.
They're no longer a citizen. You have to get it through there.
So you essentially protect your culture. Just right.
You 1,000% do. And
Yeah.
really enforcing the status, because when you get married, you get paid. When you have kids, you get paid.
Wow.
School is free. Healthcare is free. No taxes. Right? When you get a first car, they give you like $80,000 for your first car so that you can have a nicer car on the road than everybody else.
Wow. So that when tourists and foreigners come to like, our people are taken care of, our system works.
That's it.
Which is the complete opposite to North Korea, where they starve their people out.
I mean, like, Dubai isn't comparable to North Korea. Dubai is like Vegas. Dubai and Abu Dhabi are very Western. Saudi is very much like, everybody knows the king's phone number. He leaves it open. You can call anytime you want, but you don't go to work tomorrow. You don't show up tomorrow. You disappear.
What?
Yeah, anybody can call him. Hey, you can report any problem you have in my country.
He's in Saudi.
He's in Saudi. And it's crazy because, like,
what if somebody calls and just says a fake name and says,
well, they track everything.
Oh.
They have cameras everywhere.
Yeah.
They have Ronaldo. They have the soccer team, right?
Mm-hmm.
Nobody goes to the stadium. They all sit in cafes.
Really?
Yeah, they sit in their cafe and smoke their shisha and drink their tea.
I think they're trying to do something with golf as well. Oh, like they have the live or live.
Yeah. So Liv is there. Forbes invited us last year to the Women's Open.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a really cool experience. And, you know, you're sitting around and hanging out with sheikhs and that kind of thing. And like, I mean, we had meetings with them and stuff too. And you learn like kind of their customs, and like I'll learn, you know, shukran is thank you, and like they're like, oh my god, a white guy's learning our language, like they love that, right? So it's cool that it, like, just to be able to have that connection though too, especially like even coming back, and I'll throw it in and people are so caught off guard and they're like, wow, good,
they like it.
Yeah, I mean, you're participating, right? It's funny to see how, like, as English speakers, we don't give a shit if anybody speaks another language, but like if any other language speaking person hears their language from especially a white person, and they're like, oh,
yeah,
very good. And I'm like, I think it probably sounded like garbage. Everybody keeps telling me it sounds good. I can't be that good. You know what I mean? Like,
we butcher it. I think it just shows effort.
Well, that's a
show that there's effort, right?
So, well, and that's it, because English is the #1 language in the world, right? #1 language for business, #1 for, right.
So, you know, sticking on the theme of fashion, we've seen, you know, like Balenciaga, they have their exposure to I think it's like Spain, right? I believe, and you have other,
Right, yeah.
yeah, it's Spain. It wasn't LVMH? No, Yves Saint Laurent. They had their inspiration through Morocco. Like he loved the Moroccan fashion. Armani was inspired by the kimonos of Japan. Now that the world is more global, are you starting to see where different, like, the fashion is changing? Like how there's a certain specific fashion in the Middle East, of course, right? But are you seeing a westernized, like, what kind of shows are you putting out there? Because you're there for fashion, but from my perspective, we see, like, what does the fashion shows look like?
We pulled back.
Okay.
Just because it's like, it's right now Canada's booming.
Yeah.
And we have so much expansion here that we're like, hey, until you can kind of get it together, because like they're just like, well, like I said, inshallah, like it'll happen when it happens, kind of thing. And I'm like, until you're ready to pull the trigger, I'm not going to keep coming back for tea. Right? And it's good to go, but again, it's like Vegas. So spending like an extended amount of time there is hard work. Even when it's like cool, like we went in May and it was like 45 degrees every day, and like and I thought it's a desert. It's 88% humidity because you're on the ocean. So like I walk outside, I can't see outside my glasses. I fog up. I'm like having an allergic reaction. Like it was rough for a couple days, like even getting acclimatized to the food and everything like that it was hard work, man. Because we went for like, first time was 2 weeks and then a week in Saudi. And then the next time was like 3 weeks and a week, or no, 2 weeks there, a week in Saudi, a week back there. And then the third time we went was like 4 weeks in Dubai.
Wow.
Yeah. So and like I said, like we're having meetings the whole time and that kind of thing. But the fashion there is super cool. Like they dressed me up and they loved it. You know what I mean? Like, there's no cultural appropriation. They're just like, you're participating. There's effort.
Oh, no.
Like you said, they loved it.
Yeah.
I was like, this is either going to go really bad or it's going to go great. And like, we went to the big guys library. And so it's kind of like a museum and stuff too. Like they had like a first edition of like a Charles Dickens and like some William Shakespeare stuff.
Wow.
Some really cool like old maps, like old stuff. So
When the earth was flat?
yeah, pretty much.
Flatter?
Like, oh man, some of these crazy maps that they had and just like very old stuff. But yeah, man, the flat earthers are coming out and I'm like, sometimes it's hard to argue, but I'm like, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. But I'm also like, I don't know. Have you heard about how far out Elon Musk actually, like everybody's like clapping and like doing, like they're like, he's amazing. And they're like, he's like 1/600th of the way to the moon. They're like, he's not like this stuff is cool. But like, so there's a lot of stuff like with the moon landing and all that kind of stuff that I'm like, I don't know where I don't know where I stand.
There wasn't a blast impact, you know.
And Buzz said that they didn't go. So I mean, like, I'm not gonna really get into it, but like,
you know, the lighting was off. I mean, it's like, yeah, different
it's
different
the
light.
same as 9/11 in my
Oh, you're going there, eh?
like. I feel like those two are just like, I feel like they've had a lot of similarities and a lot of just like stuff announced where I'm like, I don't know, 2 + 2 is 4 in my mind, but like I wasn't there, so I'm not really gonna get too wrapped up into it. But I feel like so many people are just like, no, I'm like stuck and I won't believe that. And I'm like, I don't know. There's that comedian. He's like, you're just gonna believe everything they say.
You know,
Like,
I think we have to question things, though. I question a lot of things.
And I do your research, and I'm not here to say it's one or the other. And I'm not saying that I don't believe that. I'm just like, there's a lot of things where I'm like, it's outside of my control. But then you see the numbers, and I'm just like, they say Elon's doing amazing things, but I'm like, he's struggling to even get to the moon, and he's talking about Mars in 5 years?
No, no.
So I'm like, because he said 2030. Yeah, he wants people on Mars. So interesting. And I mean, here's the thing: technology is exponential,
Right.
so I wouldn't be surprised. But at this rate, no.
Mm-hmm.
But with exponential factors,
Right.
everything like that, and right now where he is, and all those kinds of things. Again, I won't get into too much tin hat stuff, but like, yeah, I think that there's potential for him to expand very, very quickly.
I think if you just look at Moore's law, where technology doubles every 18 months, you know, just take a look at Bitcoin, for instance, right? Like, that's another complete conversation. I could talk for hours, right? That's the future of currency, in my opinion, right? If we believe that we're going digital, we're no longer trading seashells and rocks and stuff like that. I mean, we got to go digital.
Everything adapts eventually. So I think, I don't know the speed, because that goes along with everything, and that's going to be kind of that one equilibrium moment, I think, when everything shifts and the Web3 like really takes place. I think that's going to starting. It's starting, but I think there's going to be a pinnacle moment where it's like, you know, there's robots now, and like,
Have you seen Tesla's Optimus?
the
Oh
robot,
my!
yeah,
Have you seen him speak?
yeah.
It's crazy.
Have you seen him like like Kai, that streamer, had him and was doing like a full weekend thing, and I was like, this is,
It's nuts. Like, the movies are coming to life right now. Like
yeah,
to say,
yeah. It's literally iRobot before it goes south.
you know, we'll see. Hopefully, there's a kill switch or something like that.
I was having this conversation with somebody the other day, and he's like, no, like it like a conscious thing is like, it's
Sentient.
possible. Like, because he's like, all AI is binary. It's ones and zeros. And I'm like, I think we're potentially in a simulation. So I think like a jump is ones and zeros of calculations, and we're just like not as good of a robot. So I think there's different levels of consciousness, whether that's organic or not. So I think that's a whole, like, again, I'm not a professional.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think there is a high probability that we're in a simulation.
Yes.
High probability, right? It's just you have to ask who created simulation,
Totally.
and what is the purpose of the simulation,
Very much so.
right? And it's like it's like an ant looking up at the human, wondering, well, what is that thing? Is it even worth questioning, or do you go about your life, try to have the most amount of experiences possible, and like and just be a good human being?
Well, and I think that's
Be the best
where-
insect you can be.
That's it. I know. There was, and I don't know if this is like something that everybody struggles with. It's like, what is why? Why are we here? You know what I mean? That whole, like, that whole age. And I don't know if everybody actually has that internal conversation, and, like, I think some people struggle with it more than others. That one is
Do you struggle with it?
totally drove me crazy for the longest time, but then I'm like, here's the thing. The universe speaks in such ways that I'm like, it breaks it down to a dumb enough level that I get it. But really, if I wanna grasp it, like you were talking about that ant, try to explain the internet to an ant. Like, that you're gonna waste your time. I feel like that's also the same thing. However, it has the possibility to whisper to you, like,
You made this, and our conversation is going in a different direction, which is cool too, because you alluded to the ocean, and the universe is an ocean. We are but a wave in the ocean. Some waves are high, some waves are low, warm, cold, whatever it is. We're having our own individual experience as a wave, but we're still part of the universe. We're still part of energy, which means we could still access that energy. I believe in this wholeheartedly. I've seen it happen. I've seen it manifest. A lot of people think I'm a weirdo, but I definitely think there's something there. And is it even worth us challenging it, or just saying, "Hey, let's see how it can be used in our benefit for the greater good," rather than questioning. I don't question electricity, right? But I use it to charge my phone and to have this podcast and to turn on my lights. I don't question it. I just say, "Hey, this is good.
somebody else is better at that. I'm gonna let them be
Let
better.
them do it."
Like, and I've really been on this lately. I'm like, just really leaning into whatever is out of my control. Like, it's not even like I can't do anything. It's like it doesn't deserve a thought.
So,
Like,
speak of thoughts then, right? There is a statistic that men, we kind of touched on this earlier, 75% of suicides are actually men.
oh, the numbers are
Yeah. And so
heartbreaking.
when we're talking about our existential crisis of what is my existence, what does this all mean? Oftentimes it's men that are really struggling with this mental health stuff. I don't know if
As
you that has been one of the causes that you've been championing it. And maybe if you're
Yeah.
if you're open, like, tell
Yeah,
me, what
totally.
does it mean to you, especially men addressing mental health?
Yeah, I don't know. It's such a touchy thing because I think it becomes a pity party or a competition very
I agree.
quickly. Um,
It could be.
yeah, and not always, right? Like, it depends on the space. I think it's obviously healthy, and scientists have even come out and said, hey, guys need 2 boys' night a week. I don't get that. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just too busy. So I'm like, I'm not faulting anybody or saying, like, you know, there's anybody that's stopping me from doing that. But I do know guys where, like, yeah, you can barely sneak away 1 day a week. You know what I mean? And even then it's like you are sacrificing hours for tomorrow, or you're sacrificing, you're taking a deposit out of that relationship with your family sometimes, right? Um, but no, I think just speaking about mental health, like, I think I shouldn't say everybody struggles with it. I think a lot of people struggle with it, and you don't know it until you know it.
Oh, you take a look at Robin Williams, Anthony Bourdain, a lot of guys who've off themselves or unalive themselves. That's a term now. Unalive themselves.
We don't want to get
Yeah, we don't want to get canceled. They unalive themselves because they're oftentimes people are fighting a lonely battle.
you have no.
Yeah, and that's why I think it's important, but also it's important that you surround yourself the support system that men need to have. Love him or hate him. That's why I like what Andrew Tate. He says, "Look, I have a good group
Find
of
your
people."
boys.
He has his boys. He says, "Someone wants to break into my house. Good luck.
Yeah.
I got
Yeah,
five
I'll
dudes
do
who
it
could,
for you.
yeah, five dudes who can take you out pretty easily." But
Well, and him.
yeah, him,
World champion kickboxer.
right?
So, like, that alone, I'm like,
Which I think we should get fit as men.
I would rather be a warrior in the garden.
In a gardener at war. Exactly. Jordan Peterson, man. To be the monster, learn how to control him, right?
That's it. And, like, I think there is a monster, and I think you should learn how to manage it, because, like, that's what being a man is. You're an animal at some instinctual level, and we should learn to live with that rather than saying, oh, it's bad, you know, try and beat it out. I just feel like school and society has done such a good job of weaponizing and demonizing these people who are supposed to protect. There's a reason that you have that instinct. It's so you could fight off the lion or the wolves when they were, trying to get at the women and children and the dogs. Like there's somebody's got to fight the battle. Somebody's got to protect, and you're going to say no to all of that. So to me, that seems like an attack where you're trying to eliminate something natural and something healthy.
Yeah, that's the German philosopher Nietzsche talks about that.
Okay.
And he says that he doesn't necessarily say the feminization of men, but he essentially says that it's important to have a masculine energy. Of course, celebrate the feminine energy.
There's a yin and a yang.
100%.
Have you seen the new scientific
About
breakdown? So they found out at like the particle or molecule or the smallest molecular level or whatever.
it actually looks.
It looks like the yin yang. Yeah. And like everybody's been brushing that off to hippies for how long? And I'm like, the Chinese had this 5,000 years ago. They knew that like the building blocks. I'm like, yeah, we're missing something.
There's a movement, almost a cult that's out there just trying to take that away,
Yes.
right?
There's a lot of distraction.
Yeah.
And you can kind of see it from, and like we kind of talked about this before, like there was the Diddy, there's always the, this one's controversial.
We went there, eh? Diddy.
Yeah. But like, there's always something. Like there was when Will Smith smacked what's his fit. And there's always something, and it's just noise. Like even I think the list.
Yeah. Epstein.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why hasn't that been open? You know what I mean? Like if we're actually breaking it down
after January 20th.
That's what I'm saying. So like we'll see, because I think it's all just an illusion and to keep kind of the blinders up. There's something I was talking about before, but anyways, yeah.
Right.
No, I took a little tangent off from that one, but
Yeah, the importance of masculinity to preserve it, right? And there's nothing wrong with, masculinity isn't separated by male and female. You could have a masculine female too, but don't knock a man who's being masculine.
And that's it. And I guess we were going back to the yin and the yang and missing that and that kind of thing, but there has to be a balance. You know what I mean? And I think there's not right now. I think there's an imbalance. I don't know. I feel an imbalance. I feel like a lot of people have felt an imbalance recently just in the shifting of things. I feel like it's kind of coming back to that, and maybe that's just a personal, and again, maybe it comes in waves and it's maybe different for everybody, but I think just with enough energy shifting, sometimes that can be enough to create a new wave, or like like somebody threw a rock in a pond or something like that.
It's interesting. I spent a lot of time in Asia.
Right.
Like a significant amount of time. I'm in Philippines,
Yeah.
and I'm off to Tokyo in the next couple days.
That's cool.
And my friends in Asia look back and look at us. They're like, "What's going on in North America? What's happening there?"
That's the thing.
Yeah, they look at us, and I had a friend of mine. He's Russian, and he said, "You know what, Mike? It would take 500 Russians to come into Calgary, and 500 Russians can take over your entire city."
Yeah.
Right. And he talked about it. He goes, "Nothing against you, Mike. You work out. You got all your buddies. They're all jacked, but you're not there. Mentally.
I mean, yeah, like
Come on.
Pakistan.
Those guys, the Serbians. Whoo, they're tough. They're tough dudes. Very
It's
tough.
crazy. You see, and you see the fighters that come out of there in the UFC. Like, man, that like, I thought I had a chance. You know what I mean? When it was just like a bunch of white and black guys, I was like, yeah, I'd probably get my bell rung. But in my class, I'm like, yeah, I'm squirrely enough. Like, I'm a decent enough fighter that I think I could if that was like the thing that I was going to lean into.
Yeah.
But then I saw them and I was like, they're here to hurt somebody. Like I thought this was a sport and like I might die stepping in. Like that's the one where I actually look at the contract and I'm like,
Yeah.
am I getting paid enough to like,
Which you're not.
yeah.
Yeah.
not-
Back in the day, I'd be able to kick some ass because I was Asian, and at the time, only Asians knew martial arts. So no one else knew how to fight.
Yeah.
With UFC 1, like I knew how to fight. No one else knew martial arts.
There's few, man, where they're just like two, not even the same weight class.
Yeah, nuts, pure gladiator style. Which is pretty cool too. Like it's interesting. Someone asked me, "How often do you think about the Roman Empire?"
Like all the time.
Yeah, me too.
Like
That is
war
the
and
Roman Empire was the greatest emperor, and they took over half the world. Like, how did they just fall? Which I don't want to foreshadow anything like a new world order changing.
the timing.
But
Have you seen the shift?
oh yeah, I see it, man. Ray Dalio's New World Order. It's crazy stuff, man.
right?
Yeah. It's there was Trudeau before he left.
Yeah.
He announced to the WHO that he was like, Canada is a safe house for this. So that was really scary to see because I was like, but we'll see with the way things are shifting now. So I'm quite curious to see. But at the same time, like, it doesn't matter. Tomorrow's going to be tomorrow, and there's the powers that be and all those kinds of things. And there's a wave.
It's easy for us to get sucked into the noise.
That's it.
Right.
And it doesn't matter.
You know what my attitude is? Whatever's going to happen in the world, I just want to give myself a fighting chance. Shit goes down. Just give me a fighting chance.
Yeah,
do I have the skills to survive?
and like a zombie apocalypse, the amount of times that it's just fun to think about that.
Oh,
What's the game plan?
Yeah, what would I do? Who am I calling?
And so many people are like, well, I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm like, there's no way. Like, I'm almost like, I kind of get excited for it. Obviously, it would be the worst thing ever. And like,
Yeah.
you just like nothing you'd wish on anybody. But you're like, if I could do it for one day, you know what I mean? Or if they can figure out like a VR simulator,
I'm sure.
like when they get there, could you imagine that video game?
That'd be crazy. People shit their pants. Yeah, that'd be scary.
Just real ass zombie. It's just like, you just wake up. Yeah, and you just gotta, whether you're getting to the mall or going to the cabin, like you gotta build it.
Here's the crazy thing is because the subconscious mind can't tell between real or fake. If you're sleeping, can't tell if you're dreaming. So I put on, my wife has the Oculus, right? And she's always on in the meta all the time, like every day. She's in it. She's like, yeah. So, sometimes I'll put it on and people are hitting on me. I'm like, my dude, because her avatar is a one.
Because you're
I'm in her body.
I don't quite get how the space works. It's hard to comprehend.
Yeah. My wife's always on it.
Do you think they're gonna merge?
What do you mean? Like us as like,
So like
Ready Player One?
So like these are the metas.
Yeah.
That I can record stuff with, but I can't see anything.
Mm.
However, if I was blind, this is genius.
Crazy.
Because they talk to you.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like I'm starting to get used to using Siri now, especially after using chat. And like just making life one less thought of like something I don't need to do.
Yeah.
Right. Like the thought exhaustion.
There's that convergence.
And that's what I'm thinking is like, because I mean, even on like newer cars, I'm sure that you've driven, they have like the dash. And I'm like, oh, that's it. It's like a waypoint in a video game. You know what I mean? So I feel like it's going to be that very soon. But like the sales have gone down for the Oculus, or not the Oculus, but the Apple one.
Mm-hmm.
Like
they're crazy expensive though.
They're too expensive,
yeah.
But like it doesn't make sense. It's not like if these popped up and it's like Iron Man,
mm-hmm.
Tony Stark, and I'm just like throwing my text, or like a text comes up, I'm not going to need my phone anymore.
Yeah.
So I think about where's the evolution of technology.
That goes into wearable fashion. That's going to happen.
Yes,
wearable fashion's happening. I mean, started off with the Apple Watch. Right? Where, I like traditional watches, but the Apple Watch became functional.
Honestly, I was talking to a girl at the Apple store and I was like, I feel like it's one of those things where you don't realize you need it. But once you get used to life with it, you're like, oh, how do I do this without it?
I know.
But
I want to be able to have analog. I want to be able to disconnect, and I'm okay. I want us to have a conversation where we don't have to Google the fact.
And like, I don't have a nice watch on, but this looks,
it's a
hell of a lot better than a sexy.
You know what I mean?
Like, thank you.
Right.
But like, I'd rather have, like, I don't even need a nice Rolex or like, a Breitling or whatever. It's still better than that ugly Apple Watch. I'm sorry. I just like, I will never, like, if you're working.
I don't wear it. I can't do it.
No, if you're working out, sure. But any guy that has like, I mean, unless you're just glued to it, but like I'm already glued to my phone. I like to be, like you said, I like to be able to detach.
Yeah, go analog, man. There's something to be said when you have, a record player, vinyl, and you listen to it. You put the needle on it. You hear the
just
crack.
Bob Marley today.
Did you?
Yeah.
Are you on vinyl now? You have like a vinyl?
I got a record player. Wow, my new place, I got a record player. So I've just been like, I've been
good for you, man.
New ones and Bob Marley today.
Yeah,
and like that.
What album?
Just the best stuff.
Oh, okay.
So
that's good.
Yeah. That was the first one that I got. And then I got like a 3-disc, whatever. Anyways, it was just like, reminiscing.
I like that because we're kind of moving back to
That retro.
retro traditional values to an extent.
It's funny to see, and I don't know if you've been seeing this paradigm shift, but people are talking about how ugly like the inside of like the Tesla truck is, because it's just like there's nothing.
Yeah.
It's cold, it's lifeless. Even the outside is like a box.
Yeah.
Whereas like if you look at old cars, and like sometimes they'd put like legit shag carpet on like the inside, and like you'd actually have like details to the wheel and all this stuff where it's like we're losing that.
We're losing texture.
Yes.
We're losing.
Yes. And I get it, because we're in an era where it's the future. And this is what the future has been programmed to look like for the last, you know what I mean? Like the 60s said, oh, like when people are like talking on a cell phone or whatever, like this is what it'll be. And so that's kind of what we've been shown. So I feel like we're finally hitting that, like, even with like electric cars, the bar of lights in the front, it's very like, yeah. So I think we're going to have our day with that, and then we'll be like, oh, that's tacky. Like that's already been done. What are we still doing?
Well, I think what's happening is movies are desensitizing us to whatever is happening.
Yes.
Like the tech that we're seeing is probably 10 years old already.
Oh, absolutely.
Right. And they're just kind of conditioning us, which kind of creeps me out, because there's The Walking Dead, all these zombie movies. I'm like,
Scenes. Yeah.
I'm like, well, are they conditioning us that when zombies come, we're okay?
That's it.
When aliens come, we're like, meh, I've seen Independence Day 10 times.
Well, that's it. And like, I don't know. I think about that all the time.
Do you?
I'm like, oh man, this is a prelim.
It's a simulation anyway.
Oh, totally.
It'll be fine. We'll be fine.
We'll be fine. And if we're not, we're not. Like next.
Yeah. You can't dwell on things you can't control.
That's it, man. And I've been so on that. And then like I said, not even a thought, and not even so much the thought, because I process it a lot. I probably spend a lot of thought on it, but I'm like, I'm doing that so that I don't waste the energy on it, is really it. So that other things get the right energy.
What I got two questions here. One, we talked about being a monster. Have you looked at the monster in the eyes before? Have you seen how dark you can get?
Yeah. I'm a little bit, I don't even think I've gone to the depths of it, because I'm like,
shadow work, man.
I don't need to pull him out unless I'm going through something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And shake hands a little bit. And I'm like, bro, you got to take over for a little bit. But I think it's a little bit of Jekyll and Hyde.
Yeah.
Like I don't know always how to control it. Is a learning curve, especially I think when like it is a monster, you know what I mean? Like you got chains on him. So like turning it off sometimes is also like making that switch, and decompartmentalizing is part of it.
Do you feel that the world is moving in a better direction, or?
I think the world is healing itself.
Interesting.
I think it always comes around. I think Mother Nature, there's ice ages, there's lava flowed, we got smashed by rocks, like, or if they're telling the truth about history, which they mostly lie about, but you know what I mean? Like that's scientifically what has been told. And so, yeah, like I think it's probably going to happen again.
Because, fashion is a way to express a message without saying a word.
Oh man, this is what I tell to every single one of my clients. You don't even have to say anything. If you do, I mean, you're just giving stuff away. But like in the first 7 seconds, somebody's already made a decision whether or not they like you.
Right. So you've been around fashion for a long time.
Yes.
You've been all around the world. What is actually, so knowing fashion then, what is the message that you see the world is telling us? The global collective of the world, because there was a time when grunge was, we're getting grungy. There's a time when, if you're wearing shorts, a skirt above your knees, or dancing to rock and roll, you're worshiping Satan.
I think your outfit says a lot about you, right? But I don't know if there's one specific direction. And I think that's something to be said about the world. Like 2 things can be true. 12 things can be true. You know what I mean? So like at this point in time, I feel like as long as whatever style you hit, as long as you hit the mark, you know what I mean? Like if you're going to wear skinny jeans, man, like I saw a kid that was straight out of the 90s. I was like, dude, you dress more 90s than I think I ever have in my life. And like, you can't even smell the 90s, So, and he was rocking like baggy jeans, and he had like one of those like ugly short sleeve plaids that like not buttoned up, and like the shirt underneath, and like, yeah, some graphic tee. And I was like, well done. He had the ugly, like the Birkenstock sandals. And I was like, that you missed there. You missed there. but you were at the airport, so I'll give you a pass.
Right.
And I'm like, you know what? If you're gonna hit it, go off.
Right.
Right? Like whatever it is, if you're gonna do that, obviously, like I'd try not to judge unless I can tell somebody's just like, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm the fucking man.
Yeah. If you're gonna do skinny jeans, don't skip leg day.
No, even if you do, you better be a skateboarder with like the checkered Vans on, a baggy tee, and like some hair swooped to the side, like a little emo. And I'm like,
Yeah.
man, I'm gonna give you a high five because like fashion points, you're almost at a 10 for that. Like unless you get the chain going, that's the 10 for you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I don't know if you're gonna do it. I think go all out.
Right.
Right, like whatever your vibe is gonna be, and that's why I like, and I think I'm excited for where I'm at in my age because I can still do that kind of stuff,
Yeah.
but then I can still wear a suit, but at the same time, like, I mean, yeah, like there's all these it's in the details. For me, I enjoy that kind of thing, and now like having my own place, it's cool to be able to actually like set up shop and like enjoy.
You're supposed to dress me up, man.
We'll do it.
Yeah, we're gonna do that soon.
Let's do it.
But you know, Benny, you've done some amazing things. You've traveled around the world. Your message is inspiring. That anyone can pull them out of any situation, even the darkness when you're going through, mental health and stuff like that. You certainly have conviction. What I get a lot from you is that the message I get is commit to something. Commit to it. If you're going to commit to your career, you're going to commit to your girl, you're going to commit to your friends, go all in. And I've known you for many years, and I've seen that, and just to see you moving forward is very inspirational. Where do you see yourself in the next 5 years?
5 years, I haven't really sat to even think about that. And I think the reason being is the last time I did that, it happened in one. You know what I mean? Like the last, like I just recently like did that last year, and I'm like, or even when I was gonna be a fashion designer, right? Like all of these things happened in 4 years or something like this, and then I kind of got checked off all these boxes, and I was like, okay, now what? And so now that I'm kind of there again at a new level, I'm like, okay, like obviously I'm moving at a faster speed where I'm not thinking big enough. So I'm kind of just rolling with the punches now just because it's moving so quick. I'm just trying to keep up. Until like I feel like I'm laying the railroad tracks in front of me, just kind of that entrepreneurial style. Cause like we just launched a warehouse and like a bunch of other projects and stuff. So it's trying to keep up. Like I'm doing 6 people's jobs, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so we're really trying to stay afloat. And in the best way possible because it's growth and it's like wicked, fast, crazy, cool growth, but it's just like, you got to be on. So I haven't really had time to sit down and think because I feel like that's almost taking time away from when I'm just like, I'm already doing it as I'm writing it down. So yeah, it's really cool to see that. And I think my goals have shifted. Just like, one of my favorite things to do is 101 list. Like if time and money didn't exist, what is 101 things that you do? And really breaking that down. So I kind of did that. I don't really have time frames for any of them, except for the few that I'm like are kind of immediate for me. So like getting into real estate, that kind of thing on a bigger level. But yeah,
What's preventing men from achieving their full potential? And last question, what piece of advice would you give your 16-year-old self?
my 16-year-old self, I would tell myself that it's okay not to know. The answer will come when you look for it. You don't have to look for somebody else's answer. I think that would be kind of the biggest thing that I needed here. And then what was it about men? And
What's preventing us from reaching our full potential?
I was talking about this the other day, and I think a lot of men are told that we need therapy. I don't think men need therapy. I think they need a safe space where they truly feel that they can open up and the information is not going to be used against them. It's never going to be brought up again. And where they can just be asked the right question to get to their own truth. Because you can have the same conversation until you kind of hear yourself say it enough times. That's when you get to it. So I think that there's just a lot of being told that you can be anything until you can't. You know what I mean? There's one day where we're told that you can't anymore. So I think just being realistic and like being like, hey, you can kind of do that, but also giving a safe space to understand ourselves where it's not gay or it's not men have to be strong and not cry and all of these kinds of things that I think we've been conditioned to, is just kind of the reconditioning of that, I think would solve a lot of the root problems that are stemming out and creating a lot of these bigger problems, because I think a lot of it is fluff, if that makes any sense.
Well said, man. Well said, my friend.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming on the show. Thank you for, hopefully this was a safe space. And where can our listeners follow you and learn from your wisdom?
Yeah, I mean, the biggest one is King Pharaoh Consulting. That's where I do most of my actual information, my styling, some info there. And then my website as well, kingpharaohconsulting.com. But that's where you can check me out. That's where you see most of the fun stuff going on. I try to document as much as I can and put on a good show.
Awesome. So guys, check him out, kingpharaoh.com. Benny Wills, as always, pleasure.
Thank you so much, Mike.